Man, I know Chris Cuomo did not go on a podcast, Patrick David Betts podcast, PBD, and debate or have a conversation, but it was a debate. It ended up being a heated debate over some of the issues that we all see in this country. And of course, he got triggered. Candace Owens and people on the right, conservatives, these liberals, they show their true colors. But of course, he gets triggered going on this podcast. I know he ain't had a nerve to go on there with not Candace Owens, baby. Not the Queen Candace Owens of destroying liberal logic. Boy, I can't wait to give y'all my reaction on this. So we're going to go right on in on this. But they're starting off talking about the voter ID. We see that the left, their argument is no one should have voter ID, that somehow it's suppressing people, suppressing black and brown folks from being able to vote, and this is voter suppression, yada, 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 yada. So this is what he's going to be breaking down, and I'm going to be giving you guys my commentary as we go along. Y'all know how YouTube is, so let's see.
Voter ID. Here are the two arguments, and you can assess them how you want. Is it that, I forget how it was explained earlier, but I don't know that it's that the government, whatever that means, if you want to ascribe it all to one groupthink, doesn't trust blacks or think minorities are capable of or whatever. But the argument is that culturally, socioeconomically, as you go down in terms of the poverty level, as poverty becomes more important, there's less connection with government. There's less percentage of people who want to interface with government and who have identification.
What he's trying to break down, he's trying to say one group think, but we know who the group think is: the liberals, the Democrats, the leftists. He's trying to say that what I said earlier, black and brown folks, it somehow suppresses them and they're not able to get IDs and yada, 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 which I'm going to give you guys my commentary on that here in a second, but let him break his little argument
down. So the argument is, if you say you need an ID to vote, you will have an unfair bias against those strata of society that don't tend to get IDs and don't want to deal with government.
Okay, but I just have to...
I'm just saying that is the argument.
No, it's not an argument, it's a lie, okay?
It's a lie.
Because
but that is the argument.
You don't get an ID because you want to engage with government. You get an ID because you want to drive. You get an ID because you're 19
right.
and you're 21 and you want to have your first drink. You get an ID because you quite literally need an ID to do so many things in
That's
society.
true.
So forget it. You wouldn't say that people that are in a lower socioeconomic class are never drinking, are never driving, are never doing all of the other things that are required, never seeing a movie that's above PG-16.
Exactly.
You need an ID to do so much in life. So you're focusing, this is the lie. You're saying.
So let me break it down real quick. This is what the liberals do. They gaslight. He's gaslighting. He knows that conservatives, people that are conservative, not everybody that's leaning right now and voting for Trump and voting for the Republicans are conservative. I recognize that for some of you independents and libertarians that watch my channel. I appreciate you guys. But what they do is they'll try to take an argument of what conservatives don't want big government. We want the government out of our lives. So he's trying to gaslight and make it like, oh, well, you don't want to be controlled by government or having to get IDs, and this is why I think blah, 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 people are being suppressed. But that's a lie. Candace Owens just destroyed him. I can't stand this. White liberals and liberals of a kind and black Eeyores liberals. Just in case y'all don't know what Eeyore is, Eeyore off of Winnie the Pooh, the complainer. Everything's blue, everything. The Eeyores, the black liberal Eeyores of this world. They will complain and go with this big lie that somehow making someone get an ID is voter suppression. No, it's not. Candace Owens just destroyed them. You got to have an ID to drive. You got to have an ID to go buy alcohol. You got to have an ID to buy cigarettes. You got to have an ID to dang on do almost everything. So requiring an ID in order to vote is not voter suppression whatsoever. But we're going to get into who the real people that are suppressing people from being able to vote.
Saying, well, they don't tend to vote. That might be true. That might definitely be true.
No, they don't tend to have
That's not why they're getting an ID. That's not why they're getting an ID. So
I understand.
They're just lying.
I understand. I don't think it's a lie. It could be wrong. It could be a false assumption. If it's wrong, then it's
a lie. If you keep saying it, if you're wrong and you keep saying it, it becomes a lie, right?
No,
it's a lie. I'm telling you, it's a lie.
It's only
there's no black people that are not getting their IDs. I came from a low socioeconomic background. I got my driver's license when I was 16 years old because I wanted to drive and pick up my boyfriend.
Look, even most of y'all know my story. When I came home from prison, guess what they do when you come home from prison? I'm talking about my degenerate ass was released from prison. Guess what they give you when you come home from prison? So he's talking about all this socioeconomic and people can't, black folks and brown and all these different kinds of people, they can't get ID. Guess what they give you? The first thing they give you when you come out of prison? A paper ID for what? So you can identify yourself. Come on, man. This is a lie, man.
I get it. And
those are the reasons people get IDs. That's simple. I love you too.
I get it. What I'm saying is two things can be true at once. The argument is exactly what I'm saying it is, okay? The reason the big states don't have it is because of this argument, that they say that there is a disproportionate impact on people from lower socioeconomic rungs that do not get it. One, we do know for a fact that poor people that live in more populated areas drive at a much lower rate than other people, so maybe they don't have the license. That's the argument. I'm not saying you have to value the argument. The other argument is we need IDs for everything that we do. Why would we do this? The argument now to your question, which is why don't we do it online? Okay, so I ran with this idea like 7 years ago when we came out of the hanging Chad thing that allowed me to spend a great amount of my time in your state, in Jacksonville specifically.
So let me go back real quick. He's saying socioeconomically, a lot of these people, they're not driving and so forth. Listen, I'm hung around, stomped in the hood. I just told you I came home from prison. If I go back and I think about that, never did I ever hear anybody talk about politics when I was in the hood, the projects, the ghetto. I never heard anybody talk about anything politics. We did not care about no presidency, let alone anything local. Nothing when it comes to local. Now, am I saying my experience is across the board? Nah, I'm sure. Maybe there's some chats here and there, maybe especially now with it being so polarized. But we never cared or even worried about no politics. We were literally living life day to day. But these people, we're talking about such a minute, small percentage of people that they're trying to make this whole argument of why they want to have it required where these small groups of people that are somehow being suppressed from being able to vote, we need to pass where you don't need any ID whatsoever. But we have to remember, what political party is the party that's running around here right now with their open border policy, where literally the whole entire border is just being flooded with people coming across the border? Now, I can guarantee you, if they knew that those people that's flooding across that border rather vote Republican, has more conservative values, doesn't want to go into more tyranny like the country that they're fleeing from, I guarantee you that the Democrats would not be letting this all take place. All this sanctuary talk, yada, yada, yada. You can bet your bottom dollar, man. I'm going to fast forward. I don't want to hear his gibberish.
States do not have better rates, or let's say lower rates of voter fraud than the states without ID. So it doesn't really make a difference.
That is the fraud. that is.
But I'm saying that's what I'm saying. I ran with this. I believe in this. I believe that voting should be as easy and immediate as possible. I think that voting should not be one day. I think that voting, if it is going to be on that one day should be a vacation day for everybody in America.
Now, listen, I agree with that. I agree that we should have everybody's off so that we can go down and vote. I believe that they can continue to do a little bit of the early voting as long as they're showing their ID and verifying who they are, and people are filling out their own ballots. I think that he's right about having a day off where people can go and vote so that we don't continue to have the fiasco that we had these last election cycle, where it went from finding out who our president is within a day to weeks, to a couple of weeks, so on and so forth. You cannot, till this day, convince me that 80 million people voted for no Sleepy Joe. More people voted for Sleepy Joe than Barack Obama? I mean, you cannot convince me of this. So I agree with what Cuomo is saying right here about having just a day off so people can vote, but they need to be verifying who they are. So I agree with him with that, but not this turning our election into week 1, week 2, week 3, damn near a whole month election to find out who our president is. While they sit here, I can't say it online. Y'all know what time it is.
So that they can go out and vote. I believe in early voting. I believe in online voting. I believe that we should have as many people voting as possible so we make it as easy as possible. Now, I'm going to tell you something, and you're not going to like it, but that's not my problem. It is not even this issue. It's not both sides of the aisle. The right, until voter ID, has consistently been against anything that would increase who votes.
Okay,
I think there are reasons for that. But I am in favor.
Can I ask you a yes or no?
Yes or no?
Ready? Can we play that game again?
Before I go into what Candace is getting ready to destroy him on, we're trying to prevent that, dude. We see what y'all are doing at the border. And then y'all turn around and cry and complain when you say you're sanctuary cities and we give you a taste of what the border states are going through. We see the play. You guys, the Democrats are literally letting the borders just fly open. They're cutting $75 million worth of prepaid credit cards to illegal immigrants that don't pay taxes, don't contribute to the country, don't do nothing. We're even seeing illegals coming across the border and committing vicious crimes against innocent American people. Our country is not safe with this happening. We see the play. We see why you want people to come across the border so that they can vote Democrat. And you're giving them all this stuff. Oh, we're going to give you bus tickets and we're going to give you free room and board. Don't worry about taxes. We're also going to give you money on credit cards. You're going to get an Obama phone. We see the play, man. This is what we're trying to prevent, dude.
Yes.
Should
right?
Americans be required to have ID to vote? Chris, yes or no?
And he got to think about this.
No. And I'll tell you why.
Wow.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Until I see fraud rates that go along with the distinction, I don't believe that you make a simple pitch. Then my answer is no. And my answer is no because I don't believe that
Typical liberal, just die with the lie. Even when he knows it doesn't make any sense. This is just exactly their behavior.
I don't believe you want the government having even more control over who can vote and who can't.
Okay, so
Now that's gaslighting. That's gaslighting. He knows he uses those phrases. We don't want the government to give control. Man, get him, Candace. Candace getting ready to dog him. Candace getting ready to dog him.
That's fine. I'm glad you're being honest. I just want to say, if you are a Black or Hispanic American, please find me the Black or Hispanic American who does not work, because you need an ID to get a W-T form, get set up. They ask you for your ID, who does not vote, who does not drink, who does not drive or drive somebody else's car. This person does not exist. That does not travel. You can't get on a plane without it. This person does not exist, okay? So it is the lie that they tell so that they can rig our elections by having a bunch of people who are not Americans coming in and voting. And
where's the proof that happened?
Everybody.
I'm going to go ahead and stop it right there. Candace Owens already put in work. This guy is a liberal lunatic. This is what they do. We know who the people are that are trying to I can't say the word because y'all know how this internet stuff is, but we see the play. We see the open border policies that they're running right now and then try to turn around all this whole cycle of Sleepy Joe being selected in the office, turning the White House into a nursery home. All this whole time, they've been Jean-Claude Castal Perry up there on the podium lying. His press secretary lying, talking about that there's no issue at the border, there's no border crisis. All this time we hearing the Democratic talking heads talking about that there is no border crisis, and now when election cycle season comes up, now all of a sudden there's a border crisis, and they're flipping the script like the Democrats always do, flip the script and say, well, we got a bill, and it's the Republicans that are blocking the bill from passing so that we can get this border secured. But all for the first 3 years, all we heard was there's no border crisis. There's nothing going on at the border. Sanctuary city, sanctuary city. And now we see it all. The tables are turning. Democrats are turning on each other. They're begging for money, saying it's like reparations and why their city's being crushed because of the illegal immigrants that's being bussed there by the border states, yada, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Now there's a border crisis, and it's all the Republicans' fault because they don't want to pass a stacked bill. What do I mean by stacked bill? A stacked bill with other things that's in it that are not of approval for this, for the country, for the American people. That is exactly what the Democrats do. So we see the play. We know they want illegals just pouring in here. They're giving them $75 million worth of pre-paid credit cards, just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about out of New York. They're giving them bus tickets and hotel, free room and board, yada, yada, Obama phones, the list goes on. They're letting illegals just come into this country, and they're trying to get it to where they can vote without having, not even being United States citizens, no ID whatsoever. So that this is all about them staying in power. This is all this is about. It's all about the Democrats just staying in power, man. I can't stand them people, man. They are the destruction of the United States as we know it. They always have. I don't know what part of the brain that they use in the way that they think, but it's nuts. It just is nuts. And this whole lie, I'm going to close it with this. This whole lie of black and brown people, they can't get IDs and it's voter suppression. Who are the people that's really doing voter suppression? It's the Democratic Party. Who are the people that are advocating to take people off the ballot? That's voter suppression 101. There are states in this country and people on media, Democrat talking heads, that are advocating to take Trump off the ballot, which does what? It suppresses people for that state or that particular area, wherever, from being able to vote for the person that they want to vote for. That is voter suppression. Requiring an ID to verify who you are, and it's just not some Flo Joe or some made-up thing to run up the numbers, that just secures our elections, man. All of us, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, a Republican, conservative, libertarian, or just a wokester. You should all want safe and secure, sound voting processes, man. Let the American people vote the person that they win in, and whoever wins, that is the person that represents their constituents, man. We have to stop this stuff, man. We have to bring integrity back into our voting, or we'll lose all respect. And then to you wokesters that's always talking about some, I ain't voting. That is one of the most un-American things that you can do. You're talking about you so romantically in love with your ancestors, all the blood, sweat, and tears that our ancestors and white folks fought so that we are able to vote, and you're just going to sit on your daggone hands and twiddling your thumbs and not vote because of your ignorance. Black people are some of the most uninformed voters anyway. So stop it with the bull crap. Anyway, I don't know, this is a longer video than usual, but it kind of got me going. I want to know what y'all's thoughts are on this whole thing. Did Candace Owens do her thing? Are you with crazy Chris Cuomo and his liberal logic? I want to know what your thoughts are. If it's your first time on the channel, thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified every time I put out some more mean tweet commentary. And thank you, everybody. You guys elevated my voice. And y'all know what time it is. It's your boy, Craig Long 45. You can't make this shit up. I'm out. Peace.
Yeah, oi.